Welcome back, folks. Told you we would be back, and oh boy, have we brought you something special. We've got Team Vitality, your recent ECS Grand Champion, your Summit champions, even. Geez, these guys have been on a tear. That's why they're ranked currently top 5 in the entire world. And who do they face? They face Expert, who are currently last in the division. But there's promise, Scriv. That's the big but. There have been so many moments so far throughout this season where Team Expert have gotten themselves on the brink of an upset, whether that be a 16-14 or I believe even overtime loss versus Riders. Like, dude, the chances have been there, but the results have not. That's the problem. Unable to close the upset. Maybe today will be that day. Expert already trying to charge up towards Banana. They've gotten themselves at least one kill, but trying for more. It's Andy with a double. NBK and RPK hit the dirt. That full three-man push down mid, comes back to bite them. And now the sprint to the A site is on.
Yeah, they needed to find a little bit more, I suppose. It's going to be Alex on that rotation, but this is a 1v1. Well, a 2v1 that's been isolated, actually. Try and find the heads. This is pretty damn awkward. No shots really landing on either side. There it is. Alex eventually gets the one tap he was looking for, and now I guess just needs to buy his time and just keep going for these peaks. Andy getting a little bit annoyed, trying to take this fight. Here's the player coming in from short, and that allows Alex to go for the wide peak and take him down. Really well played in that scenario. I feel like there was definitely chances for the expert players to find him. He kept kind of like a whack-a-mole, kept peeking up, but ultimately it will be Vitality recovering things back. It did get a bit dicey in the middle of the round, though.
Like a whack-a-mole that has a gun and shoots back, which isn't a carnival game that I want to play anytime soon. But we're not playing any games here today. Expert not spending a single cent on this second round. Just the full Glock. And where else do you take a Glock train but through the underpass? All these players trying to mess with the timings on mid, but nobody's peeking them. CTs instead opt for that banana aggression. And listen, I can't help but feel like Vitality are just going to chew through these guys. I
think so.
presented it in a comical fashion, but in seriousness, like there is such a massive gap here between these players in terms of accomplishments and regular level of competition that we should have a 16-0. So I'm very curious to just see if Expert can keep any kind of their promising individual level here on display. You know, it's one thing for guys like JDC and Andy, who I've been most impressed with, to do what they do versus the other contenders of the MDL League. I want to see that same wild opping from Andy and skills of JDC here versus Vitality. Give it to me versus Apex. Take down Zywu. If they can do it tonight, even in a few rounds, take 5, for example, I'll personally be impressed.
Yeah, I think so. There are small milestones that they can definitely be happy with.
Yeah, like let's contextualize the game, you know?
Right. Here, Strunk gets a bit aggressive, does manage the 1-for-1 trade. That's kind of going to work out for the T's, I guess, because ultimately with the 3-man banana play, you know, it's going to leave that A bomb site kind of weak. But then they're playing aggressive, you know, around the brackets, trying to maybe spot out as soon as a bit of utility comes in, the rotation from Zywu. But still, this is a 4 versus 4 with a fair amount of utility that Expert can definitely make something of if they play their cards right. It does look like they are going to move towards this A site, though, and now they're going to be up against 3. Very, very quickly going to be up against 4. So everything's pretty much even. Flash doesn't really do a great deal, but RPK gets one. However, it is the trades that come in favor of Expert. So here we go. This is a true test for Vitality, and they will end up falling. Expert, they're going to find that first rifle round going their way.
There we go. That's an early opening. And you were just telling me, Scrib, that we had Vitality versus Isaaco Boars yesterday.
Yeah.
It went to 16-14, which is a little ridiculous. And I'd completely understand where Vitality are coming from, seeing as, you know, you just closed out a massive Tier 1 tournament. And the follow-up is an MDL game. I can't help but feel like their heads may not have been in it. Will we have a similar situation today? That last round is a reason to believe we may. But this bye is a reason to believe it might just keep going. Poor Vitality. 5-7 for NBK. Lackluster utility across the board, but at least you have Zywu in your back pocket. Man's already got himself an opening. Takes that AUG. Ooh, and tries to hold on inside of Boiler, but JDC sniffs him out. Now Vitality have to trade. They've got to get that gun back under control. Maybe even clear apartments. The B hit's getting closer. Time is of the essence.
JDC really wants to move out though, and RPK's holding it. The Dink comes in, trying to get the wall bang, of course, through those paper-thin walls. Eventually moves forward to find the kill. That will be the trade that they needed to retain their advantage. However, it's the B bomb site that is going to be that final port of call, and we've got this flank coming in here from Skrunk that Alex has no idea what is going on, and Chris K, though, is going to deal with him through the smoke. Just responding, the AWP coming in, almost lining up. Doesn't quite matter, though. Andy going to find all three. A beautiful round coming in from him. A second for Expert. And this is something, so obviously you touched on it a little bit. This is sort of what happened yesterday. There was maybe a little bit of kind of disrespect of the Isaaco boards. They eventually won it out, but it was a hell of a lot closer than it ever deserved to be. And it was because of plays like maybe what Alex just did, flashing himself through a smoke and jumping into the barbecue area. You know, like, I'd say, putting it nicely, some questionable decisions were made. And it seems they're kind of maybe doing a little bit of the same here. They just want to get through the game and make the individual plays, I think. Because obviously, like we do, they know they're the better team.
It's in their heads. If we play 30 rounds and don't care about it the entire time, we're still going to win at least 16 rounds. That could be an applicable mentality for Vitality. I wouldn't be offended if that was their approach. The pistols into middle is the next big test, and JDC falls prey to this. Now, the bomb plant comes in off B. It's all good. No worries. Maybe even an AK save. Maybe we get wild and throw it into the B bomb site, trying to get a follow-up damage. You know, the options are theirs. But for now, Vitality going to have to give up their lead, give up their third round for Expert, and see what comes of it all. I'm sure here's the reality of the situation. Vitality have no clue how Andy plays. There is no reason for them to have a familiarity with his opping style, his tendencies, his positionings, the setups of Expert. So let's give them 10 rounds to feel it out. Let's let them figure things out and see if, of course, Expert can keep up this level of individual play long enough to finish the half of the lead. But for now, they'll have it. 3-2, and 3 survivors, 2.
That AK going to make a difference, though. I mean, the one-tap potential at the long range, I suppose. The AUG is fair enough at close range, but just having one available and the expense that it spares you on the utility and whatnot just makes life a bit easier. Zywoo holding on to the Mac 10, though. There it is. Maybe the overconfidence coming in again a little bit, but definitely a workable, you know, SMGs are not foreign to a map like Inferno. I think it's one of the better maps, actually, for pulling the SMGs into play on that CT side. So we'll see what plans they have got. But Expert definitely feeling confident, going for a bit of a faster one here. I'm going to take so much nade damage early on. An early smoke from Zywoo as well, going to keep them back, or at the very least split them up as they try and run through it. The flash comes in, but he peeks at the perfect time, picks up one. Here's Alex with the AK, and Vitality looking good, looking fresh. They've got 4 men on A as well as the bomb. It's going to be really, really difficult for Expert to find their way back in.
Alex is getting close to Andy. This could be what they're hoping for. Preet gets the headshot to the pit, but RPK cuts off the first head of the snake, and he skewers the second. Vitality tied right back up. And a nice solid hold. You know, that was a situation where you had similar numbers between Expert and Vitality. You had smokes and flashes in the midst of it all, and just a solid test of that A defense where Zywoo clearly succeeded. Now he's got an op. And I think Zywoo just scares me, Scriv. That's what it boils down to. I'm in awe. His individual level, his skill for somebody of his age, it's genuinely bewildering. So when I see him wielding this op, you know, it's like a knight in shining armor. But a Frenchman with a sniper instead. Zywoo waits mid, patiently waiting for his prey to step into their trap, like a Venus flytrap even. There's the first kill, though. It's Alex over on Banana. With pop flash, he'll go for a second, and Apex is now here to defend it all on his own.
Yeah, unfortunate. The flash works out, but the blind spray, you know, is effective enough. But he deals some more damage, I suppose. Essentially, Alex getting like 1.5 kills there from the sandbags position on his own as well. But there it is, Saiwu taking that contact peek. Andy just stood, you know, trying to go for a bit of an off angle because a lot of AWPers are going to peek that angle looking in towards the crawl space. But obviously, Saiwu hits the flick. However, JDC coming in here, 2K for him out of nowhere. That's the individual we were talking about that needs to step up. He will eventually get traded as maybe jumping the gun a bit too early into the crosshairs of RPK. But it is still 2 versus 1 for the tank to deal with. Does not matter. He will come out on top. 2K for him. A 3K overall, in fact. The AWP saved, and Vitality are right back into the swing of things.
Yeah, that one there. Just, I think the expert level of RPK comes to the fact that he's not disrupted by the Molotov. That Molly goes deep. The 2 remaining T's don't peek into his position, and by the time they realize what's up, he's got 2 headshots to his name. So let's run back the Glocks. Yet again. Is it the same play? Everybody through underpass? Nope. Just one lonely ranger in Andy. And you know what? Excuse me. It's not entirely Glocks. I missaw. We've got a couple P250s in the mix. $600 is invested. And to what avail will be the question. We've already got Apex on the banana control. We've already got all the information for Vitality. This is 100% going to be an A hit, and they will be ready for it. Best of luck. So once these smokes fade, once these T's drop, so will their bodies.
Yeah, and I think Vitality ultimately, you know, super prepared, like you said, for that waterfall strat. Know that it's going to be a weak buy coming in, or, well, I suppose a lack of one, really, for Expert. Just trying to go for the cheese strat, really, to get that bomb down. And it doesn't work. Not losing a single player, losing very little points of HP on the Vitality side.
You can't beat a bunch of Frenchmen with cheese. That's their weapon.
Exactly.
Like, what chance did Expert have? You got to get them on the gun rounds. So, best of luck. They've got the Galils and the AKs purchased here.
The game plan is, though, ooh, that flash, not ideal, I suppose, for Apex. It's pretty damn good from Chris K, of course. But again, this aggression coming in. Expert are fighting fire with fire, and sometimes coming out on top. It's not always going the way of Vitality. Zaiwu looking to retrieve the AK. Not quite sure where his AWP ended up there. Retrieving a nade. He's a little bit flustered, it would seem, but I think he's trying to maybe bait out the fact that there's a couple players towards the top end of Banana, when in fact, of course, Alex is pushed up a bit further. And it has sort of worked out. They're starting to group up towards the middle of mid, as it were, and in comes Alex, picks up 2, and back he will go. RPK peeks in from the top of middle, JDC and Andy trying to pick up the pieces, and they will at least bring it back to a 2 versus 2, but Vitality have brought it close when initially it was not going their way. JDC and Zaiwu, though, this is a key fight. Zaiwu, he turns for the flash, and unfortunately JDC capitalizes. It's going to be Alex, 1 versus 2, creeping in, jumps the gun a bit early, though, gives his position away. And that'll be the round alongside it. Expert, once again, are able to pick up another round. So they're looking competitive, and that is nice.
I can't help but feel like Zaiwu and Apex, excuse me, Zaiwu and Alex just got their wires crossed. You know, Zaiwu turns his back for the flash, but in a moment where he's obviously getting shot at, and also while he was jumping up on a box, that's one of those situations where it's like, was he going to jump on the box on his own decision and then had to turn from the flash because Alex decided to try and save him? You know, one of those chaotic moments where 2 players may not be doing the exact same thing or working on the same game plan, but this game plan works out well. We get this early op tag versus Scrunk from Apex. He retreats into the B site, and Vitality will be left to lick their wounds with a double op setup and a 5-7 once again for N. A 2v2 in the last round that could have been theirs for the taking. Could have kept Expert from knocking on their doorstep, because right now it is still just a 1-round difference. Looks like a re-aggression into the top of Banana. Alex and Apex trying to get eyes around these corners, but they're met by a smoke. So at least Expert are down there. They've denied the vision, denied that information, and now they give way the info because RPK hears a bunch of footsteps popping off mid, and now they've all diverted to hit the truck lane. He goes for the peek into the T's and almost dies for it. Now he's going to have to smoke himself out as the CTs on site try to hold, and BK's cleared after 1.
Bomb plan going to come in. This flank from Alex is fast, but unfortunately not fast enough. Andy is ready for it. Here's him coming a mile off. RPK as well, fluffing that Molotov, and with that, Zywo and Apex like, right, well, screw it, we're out. And they're going to back away and save the 2 AWPs that they have got. But yeah, I think ultimately that's the way that you expect that one to go. Expert just with, I suppose the weaponry is, the discrepancy is not huge, but the utility, of course, is kind of the difference maker. And RPK had his moment. Unfortunately, again, though, when he peeks out, they're ready for him. He's only saved because the couple players that were looking at him were blinded by his own flashbang. If that hadn't have been there, he would have gone down easily, and I think, you know, the round would have been much, much easier for Expert. So they are looking good. This T side of Inferno really, really answering back. And I think it's a similar case to the game yesterday with Vitality, where their opponents are shooting back, as the saying has become a bit more popular recently. And I think Vitality just not giving them enough respect at this point. Maybe they will. They did eventually to Isaac bullets and they were able to take it, but whoa, Expert also looking pretty good.
Settle down, Preet. He's getting stabby in spawn. Slashes Chris, and Zywu takes the forefront. That glass cannon op, coupled with that of Apex. We've got snipers trying to skewer the T's from both sides, and it's worked out already. Zywu, 2 kills, gunning for the 3rd, but Chris K gets the best of him, and JDC follows to NBK as RPK swings it back even. 2v2 moment once more. Alex bouncing around the corner. Oh my goodness, this player has 2 HP. And he takes the USP to the face. Bombs dropped, and there's a chance to recuperate another gun for Alex. Apex wants eyes up on truck lane. They have no clue where Skrunk's at. He's decided to sprint himself towards mid. Bodies piled up. Look at his fallen comrades. A collection of corpses and weapons aplenty, none of which have been taken by Alex. Reminder, he comes in from behind and he sees the shoulder. Skrunk on full display. But he's just going to play the sound cue. This gives him a chance to pick up a weapon and still play the 2v1. And the big problem for Skrunk is he didn't get bombed. Oh my god, Alex, he's going to start shooting!
I know, it was pretty tight there. He hit the initial headshot, missed a couple, and then managed to eventually get it. Unfortunately, Skrunk, you know, not quite fast enough on the spin around and landing the headshot. That would have been something, though, because, I mean, then the HP doesn't matter against that AWP in the 1 versus 1, but Vitality, again, it's a bit of a cheeky round, one that they have no right in taking. Expert, I would imagine, coming in with this pause, and rightly so. They need a bit of time to talk that one over. It was messy, to say the least. Still, you know, that kind of AWP, well, the double AWP, I suppose, in play, but all the same, a lot of the key frags coming in from Alex, honestly. So, yeah, a bit of a surprising one, a sad one.
Dude, we've had 2 games in a row now, and I feel like the only thing I've said, and this applies for both Riders and now Vitality, is, damn, Alex is really keeping them in this. Like, that's the only thing we were saying on Mirage, and now we find ourselves in a similar situation, because Buddy's just picking up clutches. He doesn't have nearly as many X's in his name, but Alex on top once more. Purchase back in for Expert. We've got the AKs, the Galul, and of course the CZ for Chris. Double ops still moving forward for Vitality. Let's see if Apex can get a 2nd kill. All right, Apex is 1 letter away from an Alex. You'd think he'd be higher on the scoreboard, but thus far, it's just been damage done with that sniper and empty-handed rounds. Early utility, and early op posted up, hoping that they duel towards B.
Yeah, Apex, definitely one of those players for me where his aggression can take over games, but it can sometimes, you know, leave him a little bit worse for wear. We'll see. Fast play coming out towards A. Oh my goodness, and straight into the meat grinder that is MBK. He's not quite picked up 4, but I mean, he's done enough damage to make it look doable. RPK saved by Zywu. Zywu picking up another, and he does get a clean little 1-tap, but unfortunately the bomb down. 3 HP for him. Apex creeping in, gets his 2nd kill, and Vitality get their 7th round. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that one from Expert. Going for a bit of a faster, aggressive kind of round themselves and just getting absolutely ripped apart.
There was a moment where they had the bomb carrier out on balcony trying to chase whoever was up there close. And that's when they had to get their trade frag. You know, that's when they showed their hand, they showed the bomb, they made the pressure obvious, and they weren't able to get that kill. So then you had ZywOo rotate over. And this is the horrifying thing about playing Vitality. There are two worlds that you will find yourselves in. One, you push something, you have to face ZywOo. He gets between 2 and 3 kills, and then you have to clutch the round versus the remainder of Vitality. Or the alternative, where you push, it is not ZywOo, you maybe take a bomb site, and once he rotates, as we saw 2 rounds ago, he just snipes everybody. You know, they hesitated. They couldn't get out from balcony onto the A site, and they didn't get a second chance to even exit the doorway, Scriv. They didn't get a second chance. Why? Because ZywOo rotates over, and he just closes rounds. If he doesn't open the chance for you to close them, it's because he closes them himself. And that's what happened 2 rounds ago when we had guns. Now we're back in with a buy, and the CTs get aggressive mid, already finding a 5v4.
Indeed, more and more damage being done off the back of that. I think the deep Molotov Alex kind of finishes it off, and Vitality are just looking super, super aggressive right now. ZywOo, NBK, everybody chiming in. In the underpass, he manages to find one, but he's lost bomb control. Maybe lost control of the round. Nice little find onto ZywOo, to be fair. You know, off the back of the sound cues, kind of knows his angles. And he'll manage to find a 2 versus 1 now, but still going to be difficult. He's got 1 minute and 5 seconds. I think you never know. You never know. Stranger things have happened. This would certainly be a round if he's able to take it, and an expert would be pretty happy with this. Nice little smoke coming in. Gives him some more room. Going to start to move forward. He's retrieved another smoke, making life difficult, but there's a gap in between them. And Alex, he's going to exploit that fact. So, unfortunately, no hero play coming in from Preets, and it will be that 9th round for Team Vitality.
Yeah, nice try, nice try. Gets a bit of a zinger versus ZywOo. And that's something to be proud of, but I think his own smoke kind of cost him there. It created a pocket when he made the follow-up smoke code, and the CT just slithers right into it. So, what's the result? A 15th round on the T side of Expert that has them not on guns, but rather pistols and SMGs. The Double Mac 10 train tries to trudge along through the banana, wants to hit the B site, wants to hit it with conviction. The follow-through is the big question. Oh, and the frag grenade is good. Preet damage so low, but while blinded, clears up Alex. It's on to Apex with an op to stop a second player. JDC removed, and Chris K, well, he's got a flashbang to try and close this distance, but he's pinned into the corner, and the rotators come over with the Molotov down. It's not getting any easier for Expert. There's a flank behind them. Oh my god, Vitality, they're going to tear him apart. 3 kills in a flurry, a flash. 10-5 the half. Vitality doubled the score.
Indeed, and this is, you know, kind of maybe a little bit different from yesterday, where they were never really able to swing the momentum in their favor until like the very end to win that really close game. I think they have now swung it decisively in their favor, and they are, you know, taking this game by the tail, definitely in the driver's seat for this one at the moment, and looking to continue the trend going into the second half. Expert, some nice rounds in there, but ultimately, you know, they just kind of fall flat to the brute force when Team Vitality are able to just be like, right, let's pull out some coordinated aggression, let's make it work. And in those past couple rounds, it definitely did. And also you have Alex, the individual, stepping up on that CT side, where I think it's a little difficult to carry, so to speak. On the CT side, you can certainly hold your spot perfectly. You can hold down a bomb site perfectly. Unfortunately, it's not a case for Expert where it's like, okay, Alex is on A, let's go B because B's weak or whatever. The whole team was performing well.
I think what's wild about that as well is when you look at Vitality as a roster, you know, there's a reason NBK, Apex, and RPK are here, and that's for their varying levels of skill throughout the many years of Counter-Strike that they've played. ZywOo's here because he's arguably one of the best players in the world, and he is a teenager. But then there's Alex, which I think for a lot of people was kind of a surprise, you know, and you could argue has the most to prove on this lineup because A, he's not one of the legends, and B, he's not ZywOo. But he played immaculately at the ECS finals just last week. He was a major winner as to why they, I don't mean major winner, I mean a massive reason as to why they won. Poor choice of words. And now he's transitioning his success into the online environment as well, because this is where he's used to. You know, this is the kinds of games he was bred and born in, being another newcomer. But the pistol round starts to get swung back by RPK. An ace. An ace from Le Tank. Aye. He just rips up the B site, treads in 6th gear. Somebody buy some sods.
I have what? Yeah, that one was crazy all over from Expert, honestly, because like they had 4 players with utility on the CT side, which is just like unheard of. They were looking to maybe go for a bit of a cheese strat, really putting all their cards into the retake, as we saw. And then RPK's like, no retake happening here. See you later, boys. See you in the next round. But yeah, pretty crazy stuff, to be honest. And now Vitality once again coming back with the vengeance.
You
RPK.
saw that?
Oh my god.
I'm glad you saw that script. Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Auto director took us in the same direction, man.
He is just feeling it right now on the D side. Good god. We're talking about Alex, but I think we need to be talking about this guy. He's just cleaning up.
Yeah, he wants us to be reminded that, or I think maybe this is a reminder to Alex. You know, you get one of these young guns popping off in an online RPK with his cool, composed look and his glossy silver hair. He laughs in French. And then he's going to drop a 30 bomb by the time this game is done. It's only going to take 4 more from Vitality, and they have no reason to let off the pedal. They're going to move forward with the double Mac 10 UMP. It's unarmored opponents ahead of them. You know what Expert have going for them, Scrib? It's not much. They have a Zeus. Oh, but they also have Skrunk. Oh, they got Skrunk with a backstab. And if only he could have gotten the AK up quicker, imagine the play he could have made.
Indeed. Unfortunately, though, Apex going to lead the way on B, and Alex kind of leading the way on A. The bomb plant not even needed, but yeah, relatively clean stuff, earning a bit of money on the SMGs and whatnot. And Vitality just continuing it. But yeah, I feel like, you know, just to touch on the point that you made in the pistol, I feel like Alex is definitely hitting his groove. He's becoming sort of a little bit like a Crims type player, I suppose we can say. You know, that very, very consistent fragger that, you know, you can just put as an anchor on a bomb site and he will be good for 1 or 2 kills the majority of the time. And he's just really, for me, what has turned Vitality when they kind of had Happy in the lineup not so hot. But I think, you know, bringing in Alex, as well as the fact I believe he calls on the T side of things, so there is that as well. I'm not sure if that's the same in the online scenarios. They probably try out new things, but he is, for me, kind of like that linchpin, that turning point that has brought them to the higher end.
He's a huge piece that's kind of activated the rest of this lineup. You know, it's like that classic meme where, you know, you don't remember an Alex 4K, but you remember a Zywoo 4K, and that's because he doesn't have necessarily that flash to his playstyle. But he's putting in the work, he's clearly well prepared, and the individual level stays consistent despite, like you said, the leadership. So that's a lot of things to praise for somebody of his caliber. I mean, again, remember, we're watching a top 5 ranked team in the world right now. And okay, that has a lot to do with the current... Dude. There's no reason to speak when these guys are alive, because the headshots are just connecting with Vitality right now.
Honestly, man, he just quick scoped his head with a Krieg. Like, I don't know.
It's like a magnet. It's just a straight up bullet magnet.
Jeez.
Zywoo is the closest thing we have to Magneto. He is the mutant of Counter-Strike.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of one way of putting it, to be fair. Certainly the way that he seems to play, it's just out of this world, really. And that sort of sums it up. You know, RPK's like, look, here's a one-tap, guys. And he's like, look, here's a one-tap onto one of the hardest headshot angles in the game with a scope, you know, quick scope going on the bottom of the smoke. Like, whatever, RPK, move aside. And yeah, Expert, the rest of the boys, rightly so, just going for the save. The double up setup, we didn't even really get a chance to talk about it because it does not do anything at all in this round. And the 14th coming in for Team Vitality. So... unfortunately, Expert competitive early on, but the French have been able to get a pretty good read on their opponents and have just been abusing them ever since.
Yeah, and now that the abuse has begun, it just won't stop. You know, this is that moment in an MMA fight where one fighter's been knocked out and the second fighter continues to hit him, but the ref hasn't stopped it yet. And you know, you're just at home watching like, oh, please, like, let it end. And we're kind of nearing that point now. Vitality have just been, with no respect, charging through these setups, just hitting the aggression, looking for the beamers in these headshots. And yet now there's a little bit of a challenge. It's a 5v4 up for Expert, and this is what we want to see. I want to watch Vitality have to work, sweat a little. Chris K is going to have a smoke fade in his face, which will then regain vision on Arch side. And it's helpful that the Molotov gets extinguished because he can now charge out here. But the problem is it's going to be anticipated. I mean, look at the bodies. Vitality, they're just stacked up. But there are 2 library players. Preet is out here on the other door, and RPK bests him. Gets the headshot. Now they have a very real chance of splitting back over onto the B site or pinching A. All the options in the world to take their 15th round.
So as well being this thorn in the side, denying any hope of a rotation, but he actually deals with both of them in the pit, and that allows the bomb to come back. Scrunk, I mean, I'm sure he'd like to attempt this, you know, but it is kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't type scenario. He might even go down on the back of the save. But yeah, Vitality, you know, really well done from them. Like you say, having to sweat a bit, having to definitely think about that one instead of just charging forward, which seemed to be what they were going for towards A, but they lose that initial player, and they end up having to do a bit of the mind games, but unfortunately just not accounting for the fact that, sure, they're towards long, but they can get through Arch. Like, what's going on here? And like I say, Scrunk not able to save it all. So the buy coming into what could be the final round of the game is not going to be ideal, let's put it that way, for Expert.
But if there is a silver lining, how many people can say that they got to play against Vitality for at least what? You know, the last 25 minutes? You get a little learning experience. Test your hand versus some of France's best. And it's not over just yet. Killer shot from Andy. Fade away off the mid peak. Gets him right through the edge of the wall. And while they do lose Scrunk at the top of Banana, there's a chance to rotate a second CT into position fast enough to hold off this cross. Chris opts not to wait and instead goes for the coffin. So now he becomes that first line. He's going to have vision of RPK. If you see RPK, he can see you. And that means he can take your head off. Ooh, nice timing on Chris's peak, but he does lose his other teammate, and he doesn't hide fast enough. So the bomb site's taken by the team, and Andy has to decide if he wants to just walk through smoke. He will win an op of all things. So Apex bests him, and JDC now, with the game on his shoulders, has to try and close 1v2.
It's going to be tough for him. He does manage to win the first fight against Apex. Into this 1 versus 1 now. Alex having a bit of an inspect, waiting for this peak to come in, and he's read it perfectly. Spots out the shadow. Patience pays off. 1 tap, and it will be the game going their way. An extremely dominant showing. I mean, it started off relatively competitively. You know, again, we saw some of those very, very early CT side rounds from Vitality were a little bit kind of disrespectful. Again, you know, I think it is maybe a bit of a harsh word, but it's sort of the way that they were playing. Crazy aggressive, not waiting for teammates and things, and it cost them a bit. And then they were like, okay, they can definitely shoot back. They can definitely win rounds if we give them the opportunities. So let's play our real game and trash them, honestly.
Unleash, really, right? It's let loose. That was the anticipation of what we'd have, and I think that's what we got. Lots of hyper aggressive rounds at times, constant arch splits and pressure, and just overwhelming a team that are of a completely different caliber. So no surprise to see Vitality continue the success of the season. They will certainly be in the playoffs by the looks of things. Not a flawless season a la Valiant or Crazy, but it's still an impressive run. And Expert, good luck. That one's done, folks. The second map comes to a close, and we've got some time before the third is expected to start. So we'll see you in just a bit of time with the third and final map of today's ESEA broadcast. You're watching the Mountain Dew League with Scrawny and Script.